Good morning, buenos dias, and welcome back to Vogel Ventures. Today, back at our office, a beautiful office.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Today, we're diving into what is it like to work in Costa Rica when your job is in a different country.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be America.
How do we pay for everything?
Yeah, not how did we pay to move here, but how are we keeping up with our costs here?
Yeah.
So we've mapped it out on our last 2 or 3 episodes. We've gotten a little long-winded, and I think we're going to try to stay to the plan and make this succinct and make this easy to watch and just get the information and move on, right?
Yeah. So we are in the process of working on a visa to stay here long term.
Yeah.
And one of the requirements of that visa is that we cannot work here.
Yeah.
For now.
Requirement or just a limitation.
Yeah.
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 We can't earn active income in Costa Rica. So we had to come here with the ability to have money that we earn outside of Costa Rica. And whether you do an investor visa or if you do a pensionado is whenever you have retirement money coming in. It has to be guaranteed retirement money. And then there's the turista visa where you have to have guaranteed income of $2,500 a month or more.
Is it turista or rentista?
Rentista, that's right.
Yes.
Rentista visa.
So we're here on a tourism visa now.
You get 180 days.
Yep.
And then a lot of people do border hopping, where we'll hop in the car, we'll drive up to Nicaragua about 2 hours away, and we'll go there, maybe have lunch, turn around, and come back into the country. And a lot of people have been doing this for 10 years straight.
Yeah.
Now, there is something that Tiffany showed me the other day that they're looking to put an end to that, where
you have to leave for
6 months.
Yeah.
And then you can come back in for 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's why we're working on our visa. And the visa we're doing is the investor visa. We spent at least $150,000 in Costa Rica, which qualifies us
for property, right? With a lot of other paperwork and things. It's not just that, but that is one of the requirements.
Yeah.
So part of that is they don't want you working here because they don't want you to take a job from someone who's local. So most people that are here on a visa are working outside of the country. And we fortunately got into real estate back in 2018, I believe, and built up a real estate portfolio. So we still have our houses. I know a lot of people have asked, are we selling all the rentals as well? And the short answer is no. We kept everything that we had purchased, and other than our primary, we're in the process of selling that. And we still have our houses. We still manage them. That is what we do for work.
Yeah. And it's something we have done over the past almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And over those 10 years, we've developed systems. And these systems that we've developed have given us this freedom to do it from anywhere. We can do it remotely.
Yeah. And it's something that doesn't take us a crazy amount of time to manage. Right now, we have about 15 houses that we manage for ourselves, a few for others. And we have just locked in the systems. Honestly, it comes really down to really good people. Yep. And we're very selective about who we allow into the homes. Yep. And it makes our job a lot easier. We've talked to so many tired landlords who are just dealing with tenants that don't pay and just fighting for them to keep the house clean and things like that. And that really hasn't been an issue since we've locked in our systems and really screened tenants very well.
Yeah. Sometimes our properties go vacant a lot longer than other people's, but those tenants stay longer than those other people.
So it might take us a month to fill a vacancy, but we only have a vacancy on our houses once every 3 or 4 years. So I'll take that extra couple weeks to find someone that's going to stay for a long time.
Yeah. So a little example of how I'm working from Costa Rica. We had a maintenance request come in on one of our properties. So long as we have Wi-Fi, we can see everything that's going on. And just messaged the tenant back, tried to troubleshoot the issue, was not able to troubleshoot it this morning, got on the phone with a company that we trust for garage doors. It was a garage door issue, and scheduled them to go out, got them in touch with the tenant. Bada bing, bada boom, it is done. If I was in the States, I would not have gone to that property anyways. Now, some issues, I would go to a property, but now I'm a little out of pocket, if you might say. So I'm not able to go to these properties. And over the past 10 years, we've developed all these relationships with people. And we have people for different things. Most importantly is our handyman stuff. And so we've developed relationships with several different handymen and people of trades. to make sure if there's a plumbing issue, I have someone to call. If there's an HVAC issue, I have someone to call. And so everything like that is I have someone to call. All of this didn't just happen. It was years and years of us building these relationships with these vendors and people and tradesmen to make sure that as we were preparing for our move, I told them, hey, we're moving. And when I give you a call or a text or an email, just know that this is where I'm going to need you and how I'm going to need you. And we have a lady that we use for all of our cleaning and turnovers and just checking in on our properties that has the keys to all of our properties. And she is someone that if there's an issue getting into our homes, she can go assist them. But all of our homes, we put smart locks on all of them so that when there's these issues, our handyman verifies with the tenant, the resident that's living in the home. They go use the code, they get in, they do their job, they come back, it's done.
Yeah. I think a lot of the systems we have put us out of a job in a way, not out of a job, but out of having to work so hard.
Yeah.
Because we let the tenants have a lot of responsibility over the house.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's created a flow for us that we have the on-site support when we need it, but we don't use it very often. And that keeps our overhead down. We self-manage. It's just us. And we're doing it from here. We set up a virtual mailbox. So all of our mail goes to this PO box and they send us scans. So if I need to open something, I can request that they open, and everything's digital, which is amazing because now I don't have paper all over the house that I got to deal with.
That is one cool thing about Costa Rica. There's no mailboxes. There's no street addresses. It's all either WhatsApp pings pins that you drop, or we're 50 meters from this intersection and we're this color house across the street from this. And that's how the addresses work. But she was saying there's no mailbox to be full of junk. So it's like a mental load that's not there.
Yeah, and I think one of the big questions we get is like, how do you manage a Lisa?
Yeah.
And nothing changed in that.
Yeah. 2 days ago, I had a screening call with a gentleman, and I always do video calls and I always record them just for my reference and for making sure we're abiding by Fair Housing Act and all of that. And so I like to call them a screening call. It's not our lease up call yet. It's just a screening, just so I can get to know the person just a little bit that's applied. So someone will apply for the property and then they'll get a call scheduled if they pass Tiffany's rigorous screening process. And then I will get a feel for them.
It's a vibe check.
It's a vibe check, really. Did they show up to the call on time? That's a really big one. Did they show up with manners? Are they someone that is just laissez-faire about everything? That's not the kind of person I want living in the home. I want someone that's proactive, that is on time, that has manners and respect, because that's who is going to be our investment in this property. We're going to be dealing with them. We're going to be having relationship with them. And I don't know about you, but I don't like having relationships where the other person is a rock wall, is disrespectful, is not willing to help a situation. So that is the vibe check. And if that passes, then sometimes we schedule them for a tour of the home, or sometimes they do that before. But after that comes the lease up. Tiffany builds all the contracts and all of the paperwork out. I get on another video call with them and I walk through line by line of this contract of our expectations of them as a resident and their expectations of me as a landlord. That way there is no question. And most importantly, for the residents and tenants to know is that you have to pay your rent on time. You have to be a good neighbor. You have to take really good care of the house, and you've got to be easy to work with. Yeah. And those are like our 4 golden rules of living in one of our houses.
Yeah, and our mentors taught us that. That is not Eric and Tiffany came up with that. It is not just our 10 years of experience. It's probably 50 years from these mentors that have helped us build out these systems in a way that makes it super easy for us to manage.
Yeah.
And we always, when a new tenant moves in, that first month or 2 is very critical.
Yes.
Because if they're blowing up our phones, if they're not sending maintenance requests, if they're sending a text for the request, we have to train them on how to work with us. And we're very strict on how we do that to make sure that we're not getting texts all hours of the night. And it was funny, the maintenance request we got last night, she texted first and we didn't respond immediately because we were with our kids getting ready for dinner. And I don't know, 30 minutes, an hour later, she wound up submitting a maintenance request, which is the process. So,
and once that maintenance request came in, it's okay, there is a security issue. They can't secure the home, the garage. I'm going to text them now. so we
Because
can get that secured.
it was a more urgent thing than a standard maintenance request. But
Exactly.
we have our systems and our protocols and our handbook that we follow, and it protects us for fair housing. It makes it easy for us to add additional homes with not a lot of extra work on our end.
That's right.
And it just allows us to be really good landlords.
Yeah. So the process of adding a new landlord to our portfolio. So let's say
If we're managing
for someone else, it's pretty simple. We do a call, we figure out what your expectations are for your property, and I get someone out there to your property to install a digital lock on the front so that we can have access, we can have tours, we can have maintenance, we can have cleaning.
and the tenants don't have keys to keep up with. So that's
right.
one less thing we got to deal with.
So if any of y'all are out there and you're sitting on a couple of rental properties, or maybe it's just one, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's such a headache. I don't like doing this. I just want to live my life. That is our job. That is what we love to do. That's something that we have been honing in our skills on. So if you have a rental property, shoot me a message on this YouTube. Maybe say, hey, message me. I have a property that I don't want to manage anymore, and would be happy to talk to you about what it would look like if we managed it for you.
Yeah, absolutely. One last thing to add. The other question that we get a lot is evictions.
Oh, yes.
How do you handle an eviction? And honestly, we have handled them ourselves. It's not a difficult process.
Yeah.
It's Eric's favorite day. He gets to dress up and feel like he's on judge duty.
I do. There's something about going into court and just witnessing, just being a witness to the things that people go through. And sometimes it's the landlords being crappy slumlord landlords. Sometimes it's the residents and tenants having different expectations of what it was to live in that property. And it's a really good training experience of what went wrong. Did the landlord not convey their expectations enough? Did the resident and tenant have a different understanding of what the contract meant? And that's why we are so in depth on when we lease up a property.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
It's also really tough when there's family disputes where they're like evicting their 20-year-old kid or some drama.
Well, when you go to eviction court, it's not all evictions. Sometimes there's a few other civil matters in there, and you don't have to have a case to go sit in the courtroom for most of these. Some of them, the judge will ask everyone to get out, or you have to swear an oath that you'll keep it private anyways. But you don't have to have property or anything to go to the magistrate court to sit on these hearings.
And there are certain days of the week, certain weeks of the month, but we're not in Georgia anymore.
We're not there. What do we do? What do we do now?
Oh, no.
Yeah, we'll just never evict. No, that's not the case. The people that we have used to help us in our properties, anyone can go represent you in court. And so it's all about me training somebody else what it is to sit in the courtroom, what it is to properly display your case to the judge, how to stick to your contract, just to convey what went wrong, what was the communication, and what is the result. Because when you go to court, it's not always you get a verdict that says they're out, you're in, whatever. The judge is going to ask you to mediate with your resident in the home. And so you do have to mediate. We always pre-mediate. We always talk about it.
And that's what I wanted to say is we don't go to eviction court very often. The majority of our evictions were on our rooming houses.
Yeah.
And that's just a very different situation than a typical standard single family home. The handful of times that we have gone, we usually go through the mediation and work it out in that process. So we're very good about avoiding the eviction process. Yeah. Because we'll sometimes use cash for keys and just give them money to have them move out. Or we offer, hey, don't worry about this past due rent, just get out. Yeah. But we're very diligent about filing a notice to pay as soon as it becomes an issue instead of waiting and giving them chance after chance.
Because we've heard, maybe not all, but we've heard a lot of sob stories that, you know what, I get it. People have problems in their lives and nothing's going to change that. We're always going to have problems in our lives. And when it comes to bills you have to pay, rent is one of the most important. You gotta have a place to stay. And you got to pay your bills to stay there.
And we put things in our contract to incentivize them to pay.
Yeah.
For example, our late fee goes up each additional day that they're late.
Yeah.
So when we have a new tenant, if they're late, it's a very serious thing. If they've been with us for 2 years and it's the first time they're late and it's just they communicate, that's a very different situation. We're not evicting someone over that.
Exactly.
So we have our policy, but we also are flexible and human because we're not a big property management company. It's us. and our team that we have on the ground. So when it does get to eviction, it is the last thing. It doesn't happen very often. And we have an amazing attorney that we use. So she can go in, she knows the process, she gets in and out. It's no BS. There's usually by the time it's at an eviction, it's for non-payment. And the judge does not offer much leniency on that. And for a couple $100s, we can get in and out and you get your house back available and ready to rent. So
now we'll say most of our properties are in the Coweta County, Georgia area. So if you're watching this and you're not in Georgia or Coweta County and you have a property that you want us to help you with, it may or may not be a fit. I'm not going to say no, because we can find people in your area. We can find attorneys in your area. We can figure out your area and your systems. So if we're not there, it's not a no.
We could also teach you our systems.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's something that would be interesting to free up your time, because landlording does not have to be a difficult thing.
No.
I barely even think about it, honestly. It's just mailbox money on the first.
We go in and check to make sure people have paid rent. We go to make sure there's no maintenance requests. And we periodically check in and ask people if they want to stay longer. Other than that, it's pretty self-sustaining.
The software that we use helps with a lot of that.
So if you have any questions about our real estate portfolio, what we do to self-manage our properties from a different country, and you just want to chat about it, drop some questions in the comments. Let us know your questions you have. And I think that's pretty much all for this video. All right, we'll see you next time on Vogel Ventures.